I'm Nadia Ealing, and welcome to today's discussion around 5G small cell technology. We've created this podcast to showcase Grid Resiliency's programs while featuring top leaders and subject matter experts who highlight the strides it's making. In this episode, Electric Distribution Project Manager Michael Smith explains the importance of this technology and how its reliability brings a crucial resource to our customers while shoring up the grid of the future. Thank you for being with me. Michael, can you walk me through the importance of 5G small cell technology, first of all?
Thank you very much for having me today. The importance of the 5G technology is something we all see every day in the commercials we watch on TV. You even may notice on your phone that it may say 5G or your router may say 5G, but the technology is still slowly rolling out. The importance of the technology is that it increases the speed and decreases the lag time for connectivity. Think social networking, gaming, self-driving cars, emergency response, etc. Technology is the future, and this is a major step forward to help carriers deploy as they co-locate on Dominion's infrastructure. For 5G to be viable, the wireless industry and the antennas that are used need to be closer to the ground than your regular macro towers. So driving around, you may notice, antennas on tops of poles or rooftops or water towers or streetlight poles. It's important for this technology to be closer to the ground due to the small millimeter wave that it uses. 5G uses a smaller 5 millimeter wave compared to the 4G, which uses a larger wave, which can reach longer distances. So shorter wave, stronger, more powerful. You need to be closer to the ground.
Thanks, Michael, for walking me through that. Can you discuss how 5G small cell technology is working to make the grid more reliable and primed for the grid of the future?
With the grid of the future and 5G needing to be closer to the ground, it affects how our grid is going to look. When I first heard a lot of this stuff, when I first came to the Joint Use Department a few years ago, they were talking about there was going to need to be an antenna on every other pole. That's not the case. I don't want people to think there's antennas on every other pole. There might be some that you may see in certain areas that more than others, but they're just trying to concentrate their signal at that area. Due to everything needing to be closer to the ground, the wireless carriers have decided to look at utility poles, and it be across the board, being power poles, telephone poles, municipality poles. And those poles need to be replaced before they can put the antenna on it. So take Dominion's poles, for example. Each antenna that requests to co-locate on a pole requires that pole to be replaced as a Class 1 pole. That is Dominion's strongest wood pole. The more of these antennas get installed on the wood structures, the grid slowly gets stronger over time. With that being said, there's millions of poles in our system and only 1,000 antennas. Each little antenna is making the grid a little stronger. These poles are also going to be 10 feet taller to help with RF clearances for the safety of our customers, the line workers, and everybody involved.
That's a great segue, Michael, because my next question is, how is this technology benefiting our customers, particularly those in underserved communities?
So another instance for customer benefit isn't just 5G. There are 4G holes in coverage from wireless carriers, and using the same method and more or less built on the 4G backbone, they'll install 4G antennas on the pole tops, just like they would with 5G. This is mainly urban and suburban implementations that can quickly boost coverage in underserved areas. Most people don't even know these antennas are there, but if you were to look for them, you could find them. They just look like a little canister on top of the pole. Think campuses, think sports venues. If they need to boost coverage there, back in the day, you may have seen like a balloon antenna or antennas brought in on a truck. But now what you're seeing these little infrastructures built in urban areas to help boost coverage in these areas. We aren't really seeing requests for rural antennas yet, is that technology isn't meant for rural areas. So that's where you get your rural broadband and large fiber builds to help serve the people out in rural areas. This is still mainly meant to help serve pockets and to help spread 5G on our system.
What challenges are you experiencing as both the 4 and 5G small cell technology continue to progress? And how are you using innovative ways to address these challenges?
Great question. Site locations picked by the wireless carrier is how everything is chosen. So they pick a site and it goes through a vetting process through the Joint Use Department. The Joint Use Department over the last 5 or 6 years has seen an influx in antennas coming onto our system, something that used to be regionally focused, say maybe up in Northern Virginia, has now spread across the system. The Joint Use Department and Standards and many other departments here at Dominion have worked together to come up with a certain Dominion safety criteria for it to be a viable co-location on a pole. The criteria is meant to protect the customer and the line workers, as I've said before. With that being said, Dominion has worked with outside vendors to design a streetlight pole that allows the antenna and the streetlight to work as kind of like a plug-and-play unit, if you will. This helps increase options for carriers and makes it safer for the grid and everyone. So the streetlight pole, they would replace old concrete streetlights, and they would come in with a new aluminum pole, which is already 10 feet taller from where the light was. We're seeing a lot of this infrastructure happen in urban areas up in Northern Virginia, down in Virginia Beach as well. Not so much here in Richmond yet, as I don't think we really have a whole lot of concrete poles here, but we do have a lot of that infrastructure in those other two areas. Another large hurdle that we're focusing on is the private poles. So the private poles would be an antenna that the wireless carrier themselves actually own and install. These require to be metered just like any other antenna on our system. And at times these services can be long distance away and complicate how they are served. Some sites go through multiple stages of vetting before they can even be served. The customer will pick a private pole location, and it could be 1,000 feet away from a transformer. So we may have to do a long service run to a metered pedestal, and then they could take the power from there. It's all sorts of challenges that we're facing. Even in network areas, we're facing how to get these antennas served that the customers pay. Some sites don't make it through the vetting process. The antenna carrier has to go back to the drawing board and pick a new location. And another hurdle is resources and budgets have kind of slowed the rollout for 5G. We're all still kind of feeling a little bit of the shortages from the COVID a few years ago, but the chip shortages and peaks and valleys of the carriers' budgets have slowed new applications and actually halted some site builds. 2024 looks to increase with more applications than this year already, and we're looking forward to it. We're already having conversations with projections for 2024.
Another great segue, Michael. What does the future of this initiative look like as Dominion Energy continues to innovate and evolve? You already touched on it a little bit, but I'd love if you could expand on that.
So currently there are over 1,000 antennas in service on Dominion's grid, with more in the queue to be built. New applications are coming in, and we are in active conversations about the 2024 rollouts, as I've already mentioned. The future is bright for small cell at Dominion, and we will evolve as our customers evolved. Internal departments are always looking at new technology submissions from carriers and addressing those as they come in. Just the other day, we had new submissions from a wireless carrier to look at a different type of pole top application. Another application that is in the works now is a strand mount antenna. That's an antenna that's not exactly at the top of the pole, but it's more in the joint use space down with the rest of the communication carriers. So as our customers evolve, we are going to evolve with them. We are excited to be a part of the 5G implementation as it grows. This technology is not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. It's hit hurdles just like any other 4G, 5G rollout has in the past, but we're here to address it and excited to be a part of it.
Exciting times indeed, Michael. Any other points you'd like to drive home? Anything else you'd like to add?
I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up my partners in the Joint Use Department. They've seen a massive influx over the last 5 to 6 years due to small cell and rural broadband initiatives. A lot of what you've seen in the federal government and state government is they have a push to serve underserved areas across the board. I think we've talked about that previously on this podcast with your rural broadband partners. The Joint Use Department plays a major role in making sure the company is deploying safe and reliable infrastructure on our poles for our customers. They've helped greatly, and they continue to help greatly as these things evolved. I work closely with them in and out of every day, just like I do with the rural broadband department. And small cell is just a small piece of how we are helping our wireless customers be more connected.
I'd like to thank Michael Smith for his expertise and insights. Thanks for listening, and be on the lookout for future episodes. I'm Nadia Ely.